This is Rugby Roundup. Coming up, match analysis from Worcester and Moseley and highlights from Bees' defeat against Bedford. Hello and welcome to Rugby Roundup. I'm Paul Bradley, in for Christina Savas, and I'm joined today in the Fort Dunlop studios by Brian Dick. Hi Brian.
Hi Paul.
First up, we'll be talking about Moseley. They lost, but there were some signs of improvement for them. What did you make of the match?
Well, there were definite signs of improvement, that's right. That said, they've been so poor against Plymouth the previous week, it was virtually impossible not to improve. But they were much more committed. They put a lot more passion, and which was mostly evident in their defence. And they had they lost, and they conceded 3 tries. But in the last few minutes, they were backed up on their own line. It would have been very easy to have buckled at that point and given Rotherham the 4th bonus point try, but they didn't. They stuck at it. There was the odd fight here or there. There were a couple of yellow cards, just evidence that Moseley were digging much deeper than they had the previous week.
Now there's some pressure on the coaching team, I suppose, with many teams. Ian Smith there. What's the atmosphere like at the moment in the dressing room, and how will they be moving forward from this game?
Well, the atmosphere in the dressing room, from what I can divine, assuming the guys I speak to are telling me how they feel, it seems still pretty positive. They seem to still be very behind Ian, and probably rightfully so. There has been some agitation among the supporters. We can't deny that. But the players, they do still believe in each other. This is a set of players that have gone to Twickenham and they've won a national trophy. They've beaten sides that have recently played in a Premiership, in 2 or 3 sides, good sides in the last 18 months. So they're not bad players. So they believe in each other. They know Ian can get it done with them. So it's just a question of finding a way to get it done now. Okay.
Well, after the game, we caught up with David Lyons, and here's what he had to say about it.
Well, we're obviously always disappointed to lose. Disappointed with the errors. Got on the wrong side of the referee early on and struggled. I don't know. Front row is not my game, so I don't know what was going on there. But certainly more commitment, and commitment like that last week would have seen us with an easy win. So cutting out. So obviously didn't play maybe as well as we want to, but certainly a bit more heart in there.
Well, those are the views of David Lyons. Now it's Doncaster next for Moseley. They've beaten them already this season, so you'd imagine they'd have some confidence going into this game.
Well, that's right. I mean, confidence is very intoxicating in rugby as a sport. Belief is a major motivation. They went to Doncaster. They put in quite a turgid performance. It wasn't sparkling, but it was certainly good enough on the day. Albeit Doncaster was struggling at the time, and the current Doncaster are in a much better form than the previous side they played with. But as you say, Moseley will be back at home. They'll have some belief, and Doncaster are on a short turnaround now. They played on Sunday and they're playing again on Friday night. Now, okay, it's only a couple of days, but going to the well twice, in such a short turnaround will be difficult for them. And if Moseley have turned the corner, as I think, or there were suggestions they might have done, then I think we could. There's a good chance of them winning at home for the first time this season.
Okay, well, we'll both be at that game on Friday night. But now let's turn to Bees. They lost against Bedford. You were at that game. What did you make of their performance?
Well, Bees started off brilliantly. They led 18-8 after about 20 minutes, and then Bedford got at them basically. They couldn't. The way Bees play is such high risk, and they do a lot of offloading, and they move it wide quickly. That it's very difficult to play at that pace for an entire match, and they couldn't do it against Bedford because Bedford are a good experienced side, and whilst they got their 18 points in 20 minutes, they didn't score again for the rest of the game, and Bedford were able to. It's a second half war on. They were able to throw on some bigger name players, guys like Paul Tupai, and they just took it away from Bees. So Bees' big issue is playing this way, if that's the way they're going to decide they're going to play, is playing this way for more often and for longer.
Now there's a controversial try for Bedford in this game. We've got a clip of it here actually. It shows, we think, that it is a try. It looks like he touches it down. What was your impression kind of at real speed when you were watching it on the day?
At the time I had absolutely no idea. It was in the opposite corner from where I was, so it was difficult. Now Russell Earnshaw complained about the fact the referee and the linesman gave this decision. having seen the slow-mo, I think we can probably give the winger the benefit of the doubt, can't we? It does look as though he gets there before Tom Foden, but Russell Earnshaw's point was that neither the referee nor the touch judge were close enough to be able to make that decision. And I think we saw from the clip that we couldn't see the touch judge in shot and we couldn't see the referee in shot. So, yes, it was a try. Did they have the authority to give it? Different question entirely.
So maybe Russell Earnshaw rightly aggrieved there. Well, after the game, we caught up with Jack Bentall, and here's what he had to say.
I think it's the story of most weeks. We come out firing and played very well for the first sort of 30-35 minutes, and we were really on top. And I think amongst some bad decisions from us, bad decisions from the ref and other things like that, I think we just sort of didn't go away before half time. Went in sort of 3 points down, I think, and I think our heads went down a little bit. But I think we need to put in a full 80-minute display next week against Nottingham and come out on top.
Well, we've also got another clip here of one of Bees' tries. This is John Breaks. Can you talk us through this try? Well,
this was a product of some turnover ball, of which there was so much on Sunday. For the first half hour, neither side looked after it particularly well, and it was quite harem scarum stuff, really. Which is where Bees are at their best. In a broken field with disorganised defences, that they've got the mindset and the courage and their convictions to capitalise and flourish in these circumstances. Is when the games become a bit tighter that they maybe start to get cramped a little bit. So the ball comes out. Simon Hunt almost goes around his man, and John Brake is on his shoulder to score. Two guys that went to the Commonwealth Games and played sevens with England, so they'll be well used to playing with each other, and I think it showed in that clip.
Okay. Well, finally today it's Worcester, and they won against London Welsh. Brian, you weren't at that game, but it's a big result for Worcester, isn't it? It keeps them on their winning ways.
It was. This was having lost against Cornish Pirates at home a couple of weeks ago, and then failed to fire, albeit in victory, against Nottingham. This was a real test for Worcester. Let's not pretend they went down there and they blew London Welsh away, because they didn't. London Welsh were in this match every bit as much as Worcester were, but what Worcester did was they managed to keep their nose in front. And we've reached the midway point of their season now, and they've won 10 and lost 1. Whatever they say about wanting to go through the season unbeaten, they'd have probably taken that. But what they may not be as happy with is with how convincing they've been in those games. That they've not blown anyone away, maybe apart from Isha and Bees. In this second half of the season, that we're going to need to see a solid first 15, a first 22 emerge and be dominating sides now, because with the resources they've got there, they really should be 15, 20 point favourites most weeks.
Okay, well, thanks for that. Ahead of the game against Plymouth, we spoke to Craig Gillies, and here's what he thought ahead of that match.
We need to keep improving, definitely. I don't think there's a cause to panic at the moment. I think a lot of things are falling into place slowly. A lot of our systems we're getting more comfortable with. A lot of our patterns we're getting more comfortable with. Hopefully during this next half of the season we can push on and progress and challenge ourselves, week on week, to improve and get better, and we can measure our results against the first half of the season. So we'll be looking to improve. For example, this week we play Plymouth. We'll be looking to improve on our first game against Plymouth.
Well, that's all we've got time for this week. Thank you, Brian, for joining us again, and thank you for watching. We'll be back again next week with more rugby news.